This is Covenant Marriages. You're welcome to the show. On this show, we believe that marriage is a blissful and happy experience, and that God created marriage to be enjoyed and not endured. And our goal, our sole mission, is to show you how to get there. We do this by inviting guests who will take us through their experiences and show us from the Word how to really practice marriage God's own way. My name is Chigozirim Otefe Edebi. I am a proud, happy ambassador of blissful marriages. And I'm always here with...
Hi guys, my name is Tomi Adesonya, and welcome once again to Covenant Marriages. We basically share what God had in mind, when He was creating this institution called marriage. Ensure you subscribe to our YouTube channel just so you don't miss out on anything. Follow us on all our social media platforms, and I think that's about it. And very usually we go to the street to hear what they have to say concerning our different topics from episode to episode. Yes. So the people on the street, they usually have interesting perspectives. Interesting views, exactly. All right, Tommy. So today's episode, we're discussing communication in marriage. He said, she said. There's this book, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. Sounds nice. So, communication. Tommy, why do men, I heard they said men don't talk. Is it true? It's all
you don't like to talk.
It's all a lie.
You just want to marry and be like quiet. This.
No, it's a lie.
But once football comes, you are alert, you are live, and the remote is with you. True or false?
False.
Are you like that?
I'm not even a football fan.
So, but you engage, you communicate.
Yeah, I engage, I talk. And most times I can't wait to get home to talk to my wife.
Oh my gosh, Tommy.
That's my best friend.
Sorry, he has gone. He's not the market again. Get you, they told me. Okay, so so it's important that men talk. I know women, we like to talk about everything. Okay, so does that stress you? What do you think? Is your wife like that? Like, we need to analyze everything. We need to discuss everything. We need to talk about everything. We need to give a blow-by-blow account.
Funny enough, I was a bit like that before we got married.
Okay.
Yeah, when we were still dating. Any small quarrel, I will now talk. Now talk. That, while I'm talking, she will just do like this. Something I'll be telling me, I'm sure it's the Holy Spirit guy, you talk too much.
So
then I'll just calm down. Right now, she does more of the talking. And I do more of the listening. But I give my own, contribution.
You do more of the listening now? Okay.
Yes.
But on this show, you must talk to me.
I must talk.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back after this break. So we dig into the show proper. Don't go anywhere.
We'll be right back. Hello guys, and welcome back to Covenant Marriages. So they said, speaking the same language. Is it an intertribal thing?
My husband always says something. He says there's nobody that is actually quiet. Okay. It's just the topic. So you may see someone, he doesn't like to talk or she doesn't like to talk. But once you bring up a topic that they are interested in, or if you attack an issue from an angle that they are interested in, that they would participate in the conversation. So I think that people need to just... and that comes from understanding, in my opinion,
But our topic, for today, we... speaks about speaking the same language. The
same language, I
don't know if it's... So, can you successfully marry a Hausa woman?
Okay.
Or a Hausa man?
No, Tommy.
From the East?
Do you know you can marry someone that... I think you'll marry someone that, don't even speak the same dialect or, like, in terms of lingua. Yeah. But in terms of actual communication, there are so many ways to communicate now. Yeah, you use your eyes, you use... Your head. There are some people that they toasted them with only eye. So you use your touch, I don't know, there are different things. And then, there's also love languages. But, you know what, we are not yet experts. We have some experts coming. These are our guests. They are professionals in their profession. And then they are professionals in the marriage something. So we're going to put all our questions, WAEC... We're going to put all our questions and your questions, and then we're going to channel it to them.
Okay.
So don't go anywhere. We'll don't fast forward us. Go and rewind other episodes. Be watching first. We are coming. Be right back. Welcome back from that break. Yes, we have our guests with us, our guest couple. They are here to deal with the subject of communication. So I think Tommy will be introducing them today.
Okay. Yeah. So we have the Osinaikes in house right now. They're both doctors. Dr. Mr. and Dr. Mrs.
Doctor and Dr.
Exactly. They've gone to school and they spend a good amount of time in school and they've learned a lot. And these people are known to, they can code anything for you. You know, they can do like this and it means something. But you don't know as the third party. Yeah, so they are great communicators. They know how to talk to each other and communicate with each other. And yes, we have them here today.
Yeah.
So, over to you.
So first of all, off the top of my head, so both doctors and so in communication, use the medical language to the subcutaneous level of the. So tell us about the communication dynamics in your marriage. Like, what kind of communicator is he, or who have you grown to be, or the journey you have gone with communication? Just about your marriage first, before we dig in.
Ladies first. He asked the question, has he always been like this? No, he has not always been like this. Because you find out that when you first get married, you have two different people coming from two different backgrounds. And you now learn to come together. There's something we used to say, because my husband brought things from his own family. I brought things from my own family. I remember the very first year we got married. I'm used to, on your birthday, everybody comes around, everybody wakes up before you, and everybody comes around you and drops your gifts, and then now wakes you up.
Wow.
And then they now sing for you.
Wow.
But when I got married, it was a rude shock.
Welcome to Africa.
This is what I'm used to.
Wow.
You know, and that was where actually I think our communication actually started, apart from courtship, where we realized that, look, you are coming with your stuff from your family. I'm coming with my stuff from my family. Those are two different families. You now have to decide what is going to be our own thing. Okay. What are the things that we're going to say, this is the thing that we have brought into our family and this is what we're going to work with. So I think that was almost like, you know, because at first I was like, you know, and then my husband, I'm not sure he's used to, you know, remembering birthdays and stuff in my family. Everybody remembers birthdays, you know, and things. So those are the things where, you know, it was actually a rough start, but we're not there yet. We're not there yet, but we're still work in progress. We're still work in progress. You know? So that's why I said that we have not always been like this. You know?
So for you, what were the dynamics like? Was there any jolting moment like she had?
Well, I guess largely is now having to put words to your feelings.
Okay.
I'm a very introverted person. And I guess medicine, being a doctor, also didn't help me so much because you almost like learn to process your thoughts internally.
Always reading.
Apart from the book, you're trying to internalize a lot of emotions from work scenario and everything. The second born in a family. I grew up, my parents are monogamous, but I grew up in the family house where you had a lot of uncles and you're practically exposed to the different types of emotions you see and trying to then give expression to your own thoughts. So I started out from the very introverted. Before I would put words to my emotion, I would almost get either pushed to the end where you didn't have to speak, or if I really could avoid this, I would just basically, and I'm the kind of person that would want to think through things, connect the dots. My wife was the kind of person who would love to talk about things, and I'm like, I have this map of the world in my head as it is of our lives, and I'm like, okay, how does this connect to this? And until I finish,
get to the end,
puzzle, I'm always like, look, I'm not going to talk about this. But I guess with time, one has learned, and we're still learning. I mean, even after 17 years, you realize that the dynamics of your lives basically take different shape. The kids are much older, are living now, and all of a sudden, some of the things that used to be the sore point of discussion, and now not there anymore. So you have to talk about other issues. So obviously we have evolved, and it's better. And now I'm learning to give expression to my thoughts much faster and much quicker than it used to be. And I guess that's probably one of the lessons for us. It was that at the early stage it was always like talk. And I'm like, tell me you love me. When last did you tell me? And I'm like, okay, if I don't love you, I would probably have walked out.
We'll be here now.
We'll have this conversation, you know, and but you learned. We learned to basically just move on and grow into the next phase of our lives. Let me just leave it at that.
Okay, so my question to you will be, why is it important to speak the same language?
Okay, so let me back up a bit and actually that's almost address it from the point of saying why is communication important.
Okay,
it's almost like asking me why is food and oxygen important to a living being.
Okay.
Because the reality is that every expression you're going to have in your marriage is going to require one form or one vehicle or the other that is called communication. The tell me I love you. You're either going to say it in words or you're going to say it non-verbal. So communication basically is even when you're going to have sexual intimacy, at least you either use eyes to say it. But in one way, so asking why communication is important is basically asking why does a living being inspire air and want to eat?
Okay.
It is the crux. It is the building block. What protein is like to the body growing up is what communication is like.
Okay. So to some people out there, they just feel you should know. So some people go into marriage with a lot of expectation, false expectation. They just assume that okay, you should know. Or like you said in the earlier part of your earlier years in marriage, that if I don't love you, I won't be here anyway.
I think what we can even use before we go into that is for the purpose of especially some kind of introverted persons watching, what is communication? Some people just feel that I come, I talk, I say I'm hungry.
Exactly.
I say good morning. I say give me the remote. These are words. Do you understand? What exactly is communication? What is good communication? Maybe we can take it like that.
So, you want to have a go at that? Okay, so let me basically say that communication is for me, it's very simple. Good communication is very simple. One party transmits a message to the other party in such a way that the other party understands the message, processes the message, and gives a feedback. Because if you say, let's take the simple example of I am hungry. I'm hungry for love.
Okay.
I'm hungry for food. My account is hungry.
I'm hungry for fresh air.
Hunger, hunger can be different. I'm hungry can mean I need my space being choked in.
Okay.
So the other party has said I'm hungry, has interpreted hunger to mean food. And the guy gets upset, like, after all this, can't you understand anything?
Okay.
I go like, I know the typical example that women like to give us, even when it comes to food. What we like to eat, and I go, anything. And you go like, what is anything?
Scotch egg is anything.
And then you bring and say, okay, no problem. You then bring
swallow,
and then it goes.
Yeah.
At 9 p.m. But you go anything.
Yes.
So he said his need.
It's
come across to her in the most intelligent and meaningful way. She's giving him the feedback that doesn't look like anything he asked for.
And he doesn't like it.
So until you express your need or your thoughts in such a way that the other end receives, understands, interprets, and then transmits it back to you that in a way that looks exactly or at least close to what you were saying, you haven't communicated.
I see.
Okay.
That's
so basically the feedback you get, the response you get to what your spouse has said will make you know whether you have
communicated
or not.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
So basically, that's just it. What's the feedback you're getting?
Okay.
And the thing is that many of us try to push that. If he wants me to do this, he will tell me. If he wants me to do this, he will tell me. And I think that those are many issues that we have in marriage, whereby you want the other person to know. But I mean, assumptions. You shouldn't assume too much. You should. So, for example, sometimes he will ask me, "Do you get what I'm saying? Do you understand what I'm saying?" And everything. So basically, the feedback you get makes you know if you have actually communicated or not.
Okay. So is there any place? So I have a background in communication actually, and sometimes they'll tell you are oversharing. So is there any place or room for over?
TMI.
Is there any situation or scenario where oversharing can come in marriage?
Okay.
Like you're over communicating, you're telling me too much. Is
Maybe
it
you calm
possible?
down.
Yeah. Maybe financial
I don't think
issues
so.
or what?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think once you've come into marriage, I think you should be able to tell your spouse everything. And as I said, we're still work in progress. I remember, I think like 2 or 3 weeks ago, we still had that issue whereby I was doing something to surprise my husband. I was doing it in the integrity of my heart, and then he found out. And he was like, "No, that is, that is breach of trust, and everything." And I was like, "What if in three months' time I tell you that I'm giving you this 2 million naira? Will you not be happy?" And that was for me. I was like, I was trying to surprise my husband. For him, he was like, "No, this is breach of trust."
Oh.
So that's why I said we're still work in progress.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the thing is, I have now come to learn that you actually should carry each other along. In fact, when I tell people, when we first got married, we still do it. From the time my husband leaves home, when we don't see ourselves, maybe like 6-7 hours, by the time he comes home, it's almost like we've not left each other. Because everything that is happening, say, "Guess what happened just now? This, that. So it's like almost like we've been through the whole day together, even though we've not been together. And I think that's very important in a marriage.
So they can't surprise you, sir. Sorry.
So as I said, I'm a very introverted person. And
Okay.
I like to add and you would work extra really to say surprise, because I'm going to think, okay, at what point did you move this cup and
I
you
didn't know.
move? I'm almost like,
So I'm not safe.
Kind of person,
Okay.
I don't like surprises.
Oh, so understanding is key. Understanding your spouse is key.
So I'm taking a cue from that, but I was going to bring that up at some point in the discussion to say that, look, even after 17 years, and when you think you have everything on lockdown, you still realize that, okay, we didn't quite cover that part, and there's no point beating up yourself. But what obviously must happen is that the issue for me is the progression.
Okay.
And because she said something about what happened 2 weeks ago, and how you know you're growing as marriage units, communication-wise, is ask yourself, how well have we progressed?
Okay.
And I'm saying this so that people get this burden off their shoulders, that you're never going to come to a place. I do not think so, because you're changing individuals even within the same marriage unit, and you're never really going to get to that place where you would not have instances that appear to like, okay, this is kind of funny.
Yeah.
I mean, because as you progress age-wise, your body is changing, your physiology is changing, moods change sometimes, especially if a woman is getting towards menopause. I mean, and she can be a lot more emotional than and I said that to say this, that therefore you would still have instances that go like, these are flashpoints. Okay. But the issue and how you would know that you've grown and you become better is that the emotional capital you'd have otherwise dispensed in years gone by to get to a resolution is less.
Yes.
Or the time is much better, because now then you'd understand. You will still have a little bit of slip up here and there. In the case in point she was talking about, I even had a slip up in terms of the timing of when to bring up the issue. Because I mean, after the initial look, don't surprise me. The only surprise that should happen, should be the one that I plan.
Okay. Okay.
Now. The timing to then bring up the issue to say, let's discuss. I had the training the following day, and I felt, look, let me just get this off my table because I'm going to be stuck at the training all day.
Okay.
She was doing school runs that day, and she felt, okay, this is not an appropriate time
to
and
bring
I'm thinking
it up.
that maybe we discuss this matter now.
Mm-hmm.
And then you realize that, okay, you can still miss out on those little things, but how many days you would have then gone by, say 5 years ago, to what it is to resolve it now, then it should be better. If it's not getting better with time, then there's
Something is
still
not
a
done
problem with either, and it's not just a one-person issue in communication, it's the unit. There's still something wrong.
So I have a twist to that question. You know, so if maybe you're having conversations with friends and family, and one party is sharing too much information, how can you pull the person back without literally saying,
Excuse you.
Sorry.
English. We're British.
You know, like, don't you know you're not supposed to be saying this outside?
Oh, okay.
So what are the, you know, how do you people navigate?
You said you're British, the Euro British or the Brexit British?
The Eastern British. Yes.
So,
okay, for example, maybe sometimes you go out and you feel that it's time for you guys to leave. I'm just trying to, you know, and you're not sitting close to each other.
Oh, okay.
So what do you do? What do you do? I
things like that.
sort of send the message, or I call, I flash. He looks at his phone and I'll send the message that, look, you know, we're overspending our time there. So you could say that, and of course it also depends on how you guys have grown. For example, I remember when we had our first child. I remember my mother-in-law came and was like, she wanted to do some things. Maybe she wanted to give the baby a bath, maybe palm. I can't really remember, but I know that it was something. Now, of course, I went to meet my husband and I said, look, this is what mommy wants to do, you know, and everything. Now, at that point, we had decided, both of us had decided that, look, when you talk to my mom, let me be the one to tell her.
Okay.
You know, and if it's the other side, let me be the one to tell her. The thing is that there's some things that, and I think the reason why people still have issues with communication in marriage is because for people that are dating, they do not talk. They're not talking. All they're doing is they're going to the movies. They're on their phone. Even when they go out to eat, they're on their phone.
True.
So people are not talking. They're not discussing salient issues. How many children do we want to have? When this child comes, how many of the parents are going to come? How long are they going to stay? Those are things that people need to discuss before they even get married.
Okay.
You know, so that when all these things now come, for example, I remember when I think it was your nephew that wanted to come stay with us soon after we got married, but because we had that discussion, he didn't need to consult me.
Okay.
He just told the man point blank that no, my wife and I are just getting to know each other.
Exactly.
Your son cannot come and stay here. So all these things are things that couples still need to talk. They still need to talk. No matter how many years you have spent in marriage, you still need to talk and carry each other along.
And even know what, so with that understanding, you know what I would like and what you like. So
exactly.
To answer your question, maybe if you're not over talking, something will check you and you look at the person's face.
Exactly.
And then you now see that.
No, but it's important to state that irrespective of the cultural mode, both members of this unit must realize that as much as possible, protecting your spouse outside and not making the person look like a silly person is paramount in how you get this across.
Okay.
No matter how you feel so upset, to what extent that, babes, I expected that by now you would know that these are inner caucus matter and everything. However you choose to express it, you must never cross that line where you make your spouse feel exposed.
To be done in love and respect.
It must be done in and this is the reason why communication, just as with most other essential things in marriage, require a lot of creativity, requires a lot of learning, and the information to make this possible is not out in space. For example, you talked about the fact that we can quote things a lot in terms of how we use our words in marriage. It's the information available from listening to people who have gone ahead or in reading books. And it is important. The truth is, all of us are born, or we are born and then we grew, we were nurtured in some style of communication that we carry largely. And those styles of communication can be a very difficult obstacle to break through.
True.
You break them by knowledge, by information. You break them prayerfully by accessing those information that make you realize you can't always say it the way, because in your village, I mean, I give you a classic example. I mean, you know, in Yoruba part of the country, they go, our wife.
Excuse me.
I know why they do that.
It was one of the first battles I said this one.
I won't take this.
This is going to be gladiator.
You are not sharing.
So from the earliest stage of marriage, there was nothing like our wife.
We're not
So they ask,
sharing.
how is our wife? I say, my wife, you mean? And we went on and on with my family members for as long as we could drag it.
Correct the pronoun.
When they got tired, they would go, how is your wife?
Add the
Or when
why.
they see us, they would say, my wife and I. That was my nickname in my family. But I was bent that irrespective of the cultural mold, I wasn't going to get sucked into that. And it is important for family unit, therefore, to come up. And as I said, the building blocks to do this is not in space. It's available in books. It's available on listening to people who have modeled the kind of marriage you want. It's available.
Yeah. Okay. So in correcting yourself in love, do you have tips, for doing that? Because sometimes you could be very, very hurt that this person is not getting the message. After 5 years, after 10 years of being married to you, at least you shouldn't be doing this. So how do you also help yourself, retrospect and pass your message across?
I think basically once it's done in love, once you realize that no matter how much you want to correct the person, as he said, you don't make the person look stupid. You don't make the person look like, are you so dumb that you don't know, what you're supposed to do? So basically, even if you want to correct, you should correct in love, and maybe later, for example, even if the person errs or makes a mistake, at the back when you get home, you'll be like, no, this is not, you shouldn't have done it this way. You shouldn't have, things like that. So I think once it's done in love, and once you know that at every point in time, you need to cover your spouse, whatever mistake your spouse makes. You need to realize that you have to cover the spouse's mistake. You don't expose each other.
Sorry, I still have.
We need to go for a break, Tommy.
Okay, when we come back.
When we come back, we are going to discuss love languages, which is a particularly lovely topic I love to discuss, because in communication we can't exhaust communication without discussing love languages. Yeah. Don't forget to subscribe. Have you subscribed? We'll be right back. Welcome back from the break. So we were talking about communication, and we're here with the Osinaikes, Dr. and Dr. Mrs. Osinaike. And we have emphasized the importance of talking from one person to the other, listening, giving feedback. Tommy, you were about to ask a question.
Yes. Okay, so my question is this. If you have a spouse that is not willing to have, that's not willing to be confronted, like maybe he or she did something bad, and the spouse is trying to explain, and she's not willing to take that feedback. She's always fighting feedback. Yeah. So how would you communicate with such a person?
Okay. Let me start from where Kende left earlier when she was talking about you asked an earlier question about correcting one another.
Yes.
And I said something when we were off air about one of the key learning curves that we had to go through, and I think couples must learn to go through to have to be good at communication, is learning to incorporate the feedback from your spouse into your life. Let me give a good example. When I'm really upset and I don't want to say something next, I go back into my typical village mode of I just shake my head. Just go
SMH.
I just go like really. Now, she doesn't like you shaking your head at her. She goes like, they will not shake you. They will not shake. They will not shake head at you. Like, you know, and I'm like, really? That was an easier expression of what I would have said.
Exactly.
But then I realized that she doesn't like you doing that. So the next time we have an issue, I become conscious to say, you know what, shake leg, you know, but don't shake head.
Anything but head.
You know, and incorporating that response, and you realize that therefore makes it easier to move to the next stage.
Okay.
And then the second part also is that consciousness also that you're not perfect. It takes two to tango, and that's the honest truth, that if there's a breakdown in communication, it is not entirely the fault of one person. Okay. That's it doesn't matter how you want to spin the narrative. So she said something you're not happy about. Honest truth is, could you have responded better?
Okay.
So your response back then decides whether or not, the Bible talks about a gentle tongue turning away wrath. Or it can set, in that same scripture, the Bible also talked about the tongue can set a whole ship ablaze. So your response to a provocative scenario can either douse the tension or it can actually inflate it more as well. So, and I said that to say that sometimes just stepping back a bit to realize that your own scorecard is not particularly clean as well in this case. Also, or even if it's clean in this case, there are other scenarios where she's born your weakness and you just must incorporate that into. So correcting each other in love gives you those are two things I think you can incorporate and then get a headway. Now, to the case in point where you have a spouse who just wouldn't want to be corrected. Now, one is appreciative of the fact that it doesn't matter how you spin the narrative, there are people who are honestly like that.
Difficult,
And it just almost seemed like the thorn in the flesh God has sent to humble you. And it doesn't matter what books you've read, you know, and what you haven't read. In fact, when you read one and you apply it, you go back and say, was this not what I read? And the person just defiles all the principles. And the person just appears to be an outlier to the graph that has been drawn. I think that patience will still come in. It is with patience you possess your soul. And while patiently waiting to see how to unravel this person, because the person has a code that can be hacked. Whether you are able to hack it on your own by the application of information you get, application of feedback you've gotten from the person, prayerfully confessing God's picture into the person, or whether you would need to seek professional help, because some of the issues that people often bring into marriage predates the marriage. And I was saying off air about knowing people who have issues that border on sexual intimacy that were not related to the person, and the spouse keeps feeling like as though I'm the cause of the. And sometimes the spouse who is actually being offended actually begins to behave like the victim. That I must be the problem.
Like, am I not sufficient?
I must be the problem, and your spouse suffers under that emotional burden and everything. You know, and sometimes you will need help getting this load unpacked. But whatever the scenario is to patiently try and see how you can help your spouse across that line. Because at the end of the day, you may actually realize you have someone who is so unhappy with their response or with his response as well, and is just almost like Paul said, I will to do the good thing, but just within me,
it's hard, it's difficult.
You know, and is that being willing? But if all fails, know that there are support group, at least like this C3 marriage counseling units, that you can actually approach and people can help you. Sometimes the thing becomes so messy, and with just one question, someone who has been through that experience says, if you move this response from this place to this place, you actually realize, do you mean it was that easy in the first instance? But everything must be done with the sole purpose of, as much as possible, you want to protect your spouse. But if you get to the point where this is not really working, I've tried all I need to do, please do not suffer under undue emotional burden and now beginning to feel you must be the problem. You may not be the problem. And the person who really is having the issue is actually crying out for help through all of this outburst and everything. Seeking help for the person through every available and legal means that still seeks to protect the person must be explored.
So counseling is critical if you find yourself in this kind of quagmire. So now we want to talk about love languages. Yes. So according to a certain author many years ago who did some research, Gary Chapman, I believe that's his name. There are 5 love languages. So you have words of affirmation, encouragement, and so on. Then you have quality time. Thank you, Tommy. Then you have gifts. Hey, Nigerian girls, our primary love language is gift. Then you have touch, and then you have acts of service. So if you don't understand, there's another episode. But we want to dig in now. There's another episode. Or you hook us up on social media and then we'll give you the code, yeah? So we want to know what your love languages are in order of priority. Because we hear everybody has even more than one. So which one? We are interested. Kindly share.
You want me to answer for him?
No, this is not wired ground. You can answer for yourself. Your own for yourself, and then
I think for me, my primary love language is acts of service.
That's hard though.
I think.
Acts of service.
For me, it's acts of service.
Acts of service people is hard. Message. You work for the love.
Acts of service, words of affirmation, gifts.
That's why telling her that she loves that. Tell me I love you. Tell me you love me is important. Then some people can go 1 year. Don't tell me you love me. Show me. Buy me something. All right. So then the third one is.
The third one is gifts. Yes, gifts. And then the fourth one. He's lucky, right? He's lucky, right?
He's saying. Continue. When you finish, we'll comment.
The fourth one is I know the last one is touch.
Okay, can you see touch? Is
at
the bottom of the ground.
Well, because for me, when it's almost like when my husband starts doing, all those things, I know that, oh God, in the end,
so for you,
for me,
it's a journey. You get to the bedroom, we first
journey to oneness.
Wash plates for you, acts of service. We first do that. Then we'll tell you, I love you.
Thank you.
I love you.
Thank you.
I love you. Then we'll now buy you gifts. Money must. Before we now touch you. You can see the journey to oneness.
Well done, sir.
So, sir, let's hear your own in order of.
Thinking of it.
So, quality time is not. Quality time is somewhere there. Okay, so go and walk first. Okay, so, sir, what about you?
I thinking about it that, I knew it was going to be asked, but over the years, I've never really given any serious thought to say this is the particular way.
Okay, but you could, which one is priority?
Priority for me really is what is in front of me at that point in time. That's and I was going to say that the book is a very nice book, lovely book, but I'm not the typical kind of person that likes to fit into a mold because I like to free myself and free people from molds as well.
Okay.
Because the honest truth is that if what is in front of me requires acts of service.
Then show me
your love.
Then show me. Okay.
Join and do
this thing.
Okay.
So your love language is
My
now.
love language is fluid.
For now.
It's now.
It's
You are
very
now.
fluid and it's very, there's some that will probably be a common denominator that will go across.
This
And
one.
then I like words of affirmation. But the affirmation sometimes would be you're standing with me when I'm doing the work and not necessarily joining me to do the work.
Okay, that's why you are difficult to surprise. They can't predict.
Exactly.
They cannot predict
And I had to
going.
free myself, and I guess that people who are in my mood who are trying to say,
outliers.
Is it? Tell me I love you. How does that
Help me now.
Quadratic equation in
Help
front
me
of
now.
me. Put that one help. Or you say touch. Say look.
Where the
Touch me, Cain.
Where
This Cain to touch me very well. So don't touch me. Your touch
is annoying me right now. There is heat. Where am I?
Yeah, just trying to. But I guess it's just finding the one who that just works best at that instant.
Okay,
so I have a twist to this question.
Okay,
how best can you extract this from your spouse? How best can you know?
For me, there's this song. There's this CD. It's quite old by T.D. Jakes, Christian love songs. Yeah. And there's this particular song that says,
"Satin sheets."
Satin sheets. Learn to love me from my side. Yeah. And he was talking about a woman that wanted to impress her husband, wanted to give him a birthday gift. And she decided to buy him satin sheets. You know, and she was so, she's bought him the best gift. You know, that was his robe. And she was like, and then she bought it and she was like, don't you know that satin sheets slide? You know, so for her, she had spent so much money and so much time looking for that gift. But for him, that was not the best gift.
Wow.
So the thing is, you need to learn to love your spouse from his side.
Okay.
So I mean, if your husband is not a perfume person and you are a perfume person, it does not mean that he would appreciate that.
Exactly.
You know, so you just need to learn to love your spouse.
Yeah.
And that is also learning to know your spouse's love language, which might not be one.
Yeah.
True.
You know, and which might be based on what is in front of you at that particular point. For example, many of us know when our husbands are, maybe financially, they need something, and then that's when you now want to be touching. And for him, his love language at that time is
money.
Small money, just drop. Do you understand?
Yeah.
You just need to,
understand.
You just need to understand. And yes, the feedback. And then for some men as well, a man that is broke will not tell you that he's broke. Right? But
she needed another view.
No, but the truth is, you would know from living with your spouse. You will know you will know your husband's body language. You know, and there's some people. I mean, I remember when I was growing up, my mom, if you're doing something wrong, all she does is to walk in front of you and say, "Hey, Lady Marie," and you know that you have done something wrong. You know, so and with us growing up, we knew that. Once your mom does that, she's telling you to sit right or to do something, you're doing something wrong. So also with your spouse, you need to learn to, and the thing is that communication is a skill. It's just like learning how to drive. And for example, now we have automatic cars. Before you learned how to drive manual, does not mean that you now will not learn how to drive an automatic car. So for every point in time, there is a different communication skill that you have to apply. So it's not one size fits all. And what works for your friend, for your friend's husband, or for your friend's wife might not necessarily work for you. So you need to know your spouse. You need to know your marriage. You need to know who are you dealing with. You need to know in what situation is this coming in. So that, but the thing is that most of the time I believe that we're not sensitive to know exactly where we should bring in. You know, for some to say, this is my love language, this is what my love language is, and it must be this. It mustn't always be this. It might be something else.
And you said something earlier on, about one of the difficulty we tend to have communicating also is that when we communicate, the response we expect from our spouses or our partners, we appear to have our mold already precast. They've told you that if you tell him I love you, he responds back by opening his wallet. So you tell him I love you, and the man grabs and further tightens his wallet. And then you're thinking, this must be
weird love.
Stingy.
And you just must free your spouse from your precast molds that you brought in, and genuinely get the feedback and interpret the feedback as much as the Holy Spirit will help you. And as I said, knowledge is key.
True.
Knowledge is key, either directly from reading books, listening to trusted mentors and trusted counselors, and seeing how best you can then interpret your own family scenario in the light of all this information that you have. And together then build your own mold for responding to scenarios.
Okay, thank you so much. I think we've done, amazing to the topic. I remember when we were cutting, my husband said he was reading a book about me, or trying to understand women, and then he prayed that the Holy Spirit should help him. And the Holy Spirit said, but she's right there. Ask her. You'd be like, Holy Spirit, like, don't stress me. Ask her. I'm ready.
I'm trying to help someone else.
I'm trying to help another person. So yeah, I think it's very important to understand your spouse and engage them within the context of who they are, and then listening is critical. Will show in the things you do.
Yes.
Eventually.
Yes.
I think we've done justice to this topic. Please, if you need more counsel, you need more support, feel free to reach out to us via any of our platforms on social media. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, and follow us on Twitter. So follow us, subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you can see new episodes as they pop up. Okay, just before we wrap up the show, I don't know if you have final words for our people, our
something
very
short, something light.
Yeah, our audience.
My final words are that learn to love your spouse from his side, and never assume that your spouse knows how you're feeling or knows what he should do. Sometimes you just need to open up and actually say it wholeheartedly. This is what I want you to do.
Yeah, but and mine is almost similar to that. That communication is a skill that can be improved upon.
Okay.
It just requires the right amount of emotional investment, right amount of time invested in acquiring information. It's not going to happen overnight. If you find good marriages where communication appears to be going on smoothly, they have invested time in learning the skill, in oiling the skill, and most importantly, in using the skill that they've learned.
Application.
And everyone can have a good marriage where communication is wonderful.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We're really happy to have you. Thank you so much. And we have a very little gift for you, based on the impact you've made in our lives today. Yes.
You've given us so much.
We are trying to intrude your space, and we hope you don't forget us.
Yes.
Look at this.
As a memory of the time that you spent with us. Lovely. No,
please show our people.
Yes,
so this is the real face.
Yes.
Aww.
Thank you.
It's really pretty.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. God bless you. Thank you for sharing with us.
Thank you.
And we pray we will not disappoint you. We and our audience. Yeah. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah. We'll be right back after this break. Yeah.
Communication in marriage, well, it sometimes is not so easy, because maybe when one partner is so sure of something and the other person does not seem to get it, sometimes when you're trying to tell the other person what you're sure of, it deteriorates. But I think it's something you get better at doing over time. You keep at it, you get angry at each other, maybe you quarrel sometimes, but you just go back to it, especially when maybe both of you are in good moods. So you can go back to it, try it, until both of you are on the same path.
Okay, there was a book I read, and then it made me understand that communication basically for couples, it's having to know that the woman looks at the world from a pink eyeglass and the man looks at the world from a blue eyeglass. So most times you have to come to that understanding that even though this is why I see it, she might not see it that way. It is your ability to actually have to decode it, bring it to the barest minimum, and paint it according to that pink picture she's seeing before you could actually get that which you want to achieve done. And most times it's very difficult, I must say, but we thank God for understanding, thank God for love. If the understanding is the basic, is the bedrock. If you don't understand how to actually pass the information forward, you have those challenges, basically.
So to me, I believe that communication is very, very important. Communication is two ways between the man and the woman. It's not one-sided. And for communication to be effective, it means that when one message is passed across, the other party receives it and understands it very well. And one of the issues in marriages actually is that communication. There are so many expectations unmet because one spouse has not communicated that expectation. So the expectation is kept inside, and you expect the partner to know automatically what you want. How is that possible? So we need to communicate our expectations to our partners, ensure that we have alignment with them, and that's the only way it can actually, the marriage can actually work out very well?
As I said, everything he said was right or is right. And communications has really helped us in our marriage, because I think that's one aspect we've really gotten a hangover, and has really helped us through situations, issues. There's nothing too hard for us to communicate. There's nothing too hard for us to talk about. There's nothing too hard or too sensitive, permit me to use the word, for us to really talk about. So I express myself to him. He understands. He tells me how he feels. No matter how, I won't take it anyhow. I'll take it as he has given me to him, because I understand that he's just trying to tell me how he feels. So I don't shut him down, and he also doesn't shut me down when I talk. So we can express ourselves very well, and it has really helped in things and in everything. So I would just say that try to communicate. Communication is like the blood of a marriage, and even any relationship, friendship, even at work, communication is it. Thank you.
Hello guys, and welcome back to Covenant Marriages. On today's episode, we've been talking about how to properly communicate with your spouse. So let's hear from Chigo if she really learned anything today.
So me. The way you revere me, I appreciate. Well, they said it all, they said it all. There's no marriage without communication. I mean, if you're the kind of person who doesn't like to talk and you are preparing to get married, please try.
Drop your phone.
You understand? You need to communication. Marriage without communication, it can't exist. It will be frustrating for both parties. If both parties need to talk, you need to engage, you need to understand what your spouse needs, and you need to meet that need. And to do that, you need to communicate, transparently.
And also that you need to protect your spouse in communicating. So just so they don't look like they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
All right. So sadly, we have to go. We've come to the end of the show today. Ensure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on all our social media platforms. Do you have any final words for your
Nothing is the usual word. Be doers.
Be doers.
Not just hearers. If you only hear, and you don't do, you won't see the results. So you got to be a doer and not just a hearer. Till we come your way again.
Bye.
Bye.
Powered by Covenant Christian Center.